You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Road Trans for Black and White Sports. Well, this is what Rob Manfred deserves. After the debacle involving the All-Star game in Georgia and him having made such a partisan-leaning decision in moving out the Major League Baseball All-Star game because of a Georgia voting law that we know had a complete false narrative surrounding it involving racism, he made some comments the other day about the Braves, the Tomahawk chop, and the fact that, of course, it absolutely wasn't racist, and the Braves and the Tomahawk chop was fully supported by the local Native American tribes surrounding the Atlanta Braves market and area. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. We've seen more and more sports organizations come under fire, and I believe under fire by not generally speaking Native Americans, but by members of the left-leaning Democratic Party. Let's just keep it real. Woke liberals. I'm just, without a better way of saying it, woke liberals have been coming after these social justice warriors, okay? Have been coming after these Native American named sports teams. Chiefs, the Washington Redskins bent the knee, changed their name to the Washington football team. The Chiefs, they're coming after you, okay? They've already gotten rid of War Paint, their horse. Made my wife furious, who is Cherokee, by the way. And she thinks this crap is utterly ridiculous. She thinks it's nonsense. She said, we don't get offended like that. We don't. We're tougher than that. We don't get offended by every little thing. And she's offended that anybody is offended. If that tells you anything, and like I said, she's large percentage Cherokee Indian. Well, Rob Manfred made those comments the other night prior to the World Series, and now he, woke Rob Manfred, is under attack by Native Americans that are not associated with the Atlanta Braves, by the way. And I checked on this organization, and as you could expect, they have a blatant left-leaning partisan sort of affiliation. Kamala Harris took time out of her busy border czar schedule dealing with the border crisis to talk to this group just a couple of 3 weeks ago. Yeah, really busy with the border, right? To talk to this group. Well, Rob Manfred's under fire because you see, Rob Manfred, you can never be woke enough and you can never satisfy everybody. All right, and this is a little bit of poetic justice for Rob Manfred, but I think it's ridiculous that this group is making these comments anyway, nonetheless. Let's get to this story. Native American group blast MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred over the Tomahawk chop comments. The nation's largest Native American organization is disputing MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred's reasoning on why the Atlanta Braves nickname and the Tomahawk chop fan rituals should be allowed to continue. Calling it a local issue, Manfred said Tuesday the Native American community in the region is, quote, fully supportive of the Braves program, including the chop. Okay, he's absolutely right about one thing. Baseball is very much a local market sport now. Okay, baseball is not nearly the national sport it was when we were growing up in the 70s and the 80s, and even in part in the 90s. So he is right about that. So he's got that correct. And he's the commissioner. He should know that. Quote from me, that's kind of end of the story. So in other words, he realizes you have to play to your own local fans unless it comes to your all-star game and destroying your community's revenue by moving it. However, the National Congress of American Indians countered the statement on Wednesday saying, quote, nothing can be further from the truth, noting that MLB markets the game nationally and internationally. NCAI president Fawn Sharp said the Braves name, logo, and chop, quote, are meant to depict and caricature not just one tribal community, but all Native people. And that is certainly how baseball fans and Native people everywhere interpret them. Okay, well, I just told you my wife is not offended by it, and she's in large part Cherokee. So that statement in itself is false. Fawn Sharp. Okay, this is her full statement. Quote, in our discussions with Atlanta Braves, we have repeatedly and unequivocally made our position clear. Native people are not mascots, and degrading rituals like the Tomahawk chop that dehumanize and harm us have no place in American society. That's odd because I've said before, we've got a large Native American subscriber base, okay? Since way back when the channel first started, and we got a lot of comments, and it's always, we back you. Anytime it's something to do with the Redskins, the Chiefs, the Braves, the Indians, it seems all these Native Americans find all this, we want to change things, to be utterly ridiculous. So this woman saying she speaks for all Native Americans, she's full of crap. She is full of shit. That's a false statement. She's full of crap. The Braves frequently point to their partnership with the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians that, as proof, support they have Native American community. However, other tribes and Native American groups have not been as accepting. It should be noted, the Seminoles are also big. Remember Florida State? They have an agreement there. They are not offended by the Florida State Seminoles whatsoever. The NCAI, which calls itself the oldest and largest, most representative American Indian and Alaskan Native organization in the country, said it has, quote, repeatedly and unequivocally made our position clear that mascots and rituals such as the chop have no place in American society. The group is calling on the Braves to change their nickname, here we go, as the Cleveland Guardians are doing, even though they're too cheap to actually buy the name from a roller derby club. I did a video on that yesterday. Go check it out. And for Fox Broadcasting to stop showing fans doing the Tomahawk chop during this year's World Series games for Atlanta. Fucking ridiculous. Well, so they not only want Manfred to make all these sweeping changes to the Braves or force the Braves into it, but they want Fox to quit showing it and covering it. Should Fox blur out the Braves logo too? Should they blur that out somehow, some way on camera? Because your woke sensibilities have been threatened? Let's not get confused. Okay, this is not about the fact that they're Native Americans. This is about the fact that they're trying to prove to their political leanings that they are woke, that they are all up in social justice, because it is a merit badge. End of story. Oh, look how supremely caught up in social justice we are. That's progressive politics. Okay, it's got nothing to do with indigenous peoples or Native Americans or any of that other stuff that they're claiming it's about. Okay, we have to show to everybody else involved in our political leanings exactly how woke and how offended we are. It's a badge of honor for those morons. Let's not get confused. Now, look, I love the fact that Rob Manfred's taking heat because he deserves to take a lot of heat. I don't know if he's the worst commissioner in all of sports. I mean, right now, Roger Goodell is doing his best to win that title back. It used to be him running away till Adam Silver stepped up and Dikembe Mutombo'd his ass, and then Rob Manfred tagged in to the ring of who's the most woke, awful sports commissioner earlier in the year. So I appreciate the fact when any of these sports commissioners take some heat, but this particular issue that we have covered a lot on this channel, it's nonsense. They're filling your head full of a bunch of crap. Okay, I've talked to too many Native Americans on videos related to these Native American nickname clubs involved with sports who have said, we don't sit around and get offended by this kind of thing. We are too tough as a people. We were not raised that way to get offended by this nonsense. And a lot of these folks have said the same thing. That they are actually proud that these clubs are named the Indians, the Chiefs, the Redskins, the Seminoles, etc., and many of them are actually offended that these things and these sensibilities and these rituals that these teams have are being taken away from Native Americans. Come on. Tell me what you think, black and white sports fans. I love the fact that Rob Manfred's taking heat. But this really is and should be a non-issue. Stop it. You want Fox to quit showing it. Guess what? If you're that offended, don't watch Turn the Channel. That simple. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.